All right, we just wrapped up week 2 of the NFL season, and just when you think you know something about this league, it goes and proves you know absolutely nothing. What a bizarre week 2. Tons of upsets across the boards. Teams we thought were good maybe aren't so good, and bad teams we think are actually playoff teams and are really good. I don't know. The NFL just always keeps us guessing. It's the best reality show out there. But I'm watching all these games. I'm taking notes, keeping tabs, ranking all 32 teams, 1 through 32. But let's just hop into it. Let's start with our bottom tier teams, teams who are really probably not that good. But hey, it's still early. There is a hope. Okay, 32, Carolina, they're awful. I didn't think they were going to win a game with Bryce Young at quarterback this year. In comes Andy Dalton. Maybe that helps them out a lot. Giants, not much better. The only team to score 3 touchdowns and not give up a touchdown and lose an NFL game in regulation. Good on you, Giants. Denver, this offense makes my eyes bleed. It's really bad. Bo Nix, yeah, you fooled us. Keep telling me Sean Payton, great. Keep telling me that. Okay. Tennessee Titans. I mean, the Titans defense seems like it's kind of okay. I don't know. It feels like it's okay, but Will Levis just making the biggest and worst decision. His decision making is the worst in the NFL at the quarterback position, and his head coach hates him. So, yeah, that's Tennessee. Jacksonville, I thought was good. I picked Jacksonville to make the playoffs. This is a dumpster fire right now. They are awful. Doug Peterson is a bad play caller. They can't do anything right. They can't block. They can't run. They can't catch. Defense is okay. I think the defense isn't bad, but man, it's just really hard to watch the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. Washington, nice win, but you didn't score any touchdowns. Jaden Daniels really bad in the red zone. They kicked 7 field goals, so they moved the ball some. I like the way the Commanders are trending. Their defense is really bad, though, but it's early for them. We'll see maybe a better second half from this kind of team. New England, I think New England is better than we thought they were going to be. A nice, hard-fought game against Seattle, but got to go for it in 4th down and overtime, man. You're settling for the tie. You lose. I don't know. I'm expecting to see Drake May here in a few weeks. I think the team is better and good enough to get him in there, and let's see what we got. Cleveland, your defense actually traveled on the road in a monsoon. Now, the Jaguars are pitiful, so I'm not going to overreact to that. Deshaun Watson didn't look like the second worst quarterback in the NFL this week. He looked comparable. I guess that new lawsuit drop, he found out they can take his money, so he has to do something offensively for them. But still, there's a lot to be desired. The Browns defense is going to be having to carry the brunt load of this team's wins this year because I don't like the offense at all. Vegas, what a huge win for the Vegas Raiders after a disappointing week 1 against the Chargers. Really go in there. They're down 10 points in the 4th quarter. They can't run the ball at all, though. They can't run the ball. Defensive pass rush, awesome. Shut down the Ravens. And then Minshew magic, baby, somehow worked it out. I think he threw the ball 44 times, something like that. Devontae Adams, welcome back. Brock Bowers, he's a dude. I like Brock Bowers. I loved him coming out, and they know how to use him. The Raiders got to figure out the run game, and the defense needs to be better, but maybe the Raiders are going to be a feisty team that nobody kind of knows how to deal with, so they upset a lot of good teams. And then 23, Chicago, like the Bears defense is good. The offense is bad. Caleb's not been good at all. Not all his fault. The offensive line's atrocious. He's getting killed out there. His footwork is bad. The play calling is slow developing. It's not good. They can't run the football. There's a lot of problems. Eberflus could be a dead man walking as the head coach, and that's not good. Only Chicago could screw up a generational type quarterback talent. But let's get into now our middle tier teams 22 through 16. Okay, Colts at 22, super disappointed in the Colts. I thought that was a good team that lost to Houston week 1. That was an awful team that lost to Green Bay week 2. Gus Bradley's defense is pathetic. It's awful, his scheme. What are you doing? Malik Willis can't throw the football. I repeat, Malik Willis cannot throw the football. They're going to run the ball, and we're getting 7-man boxes on 3rd and 2. What are we doing? Like, Gus Bradley is a joke. Now, some highfalutin NFL minds out there have been raising the red flag about Gus Bradley. Anthony Richardson's a roller coaster. He's only started like 15 games since college. Like, he's got to figure this thing out. Shane Steichen had some nice play calls out there. And where the hell is Jonathan Taylor? Like, what's going on, Indy? Dolphins, I mean, the Dolphins weren't looking great, but Tua's out. Skylar Thompson at quarterback. Defense is okay, not great, but the offense has really struggled. I'm more concerned that maybe teams have figured out this Mike McDaniel passing game because they were just awful. 2 or 3 picks before the injury, but they just aren't viable without any sort of quarterback play. Same thing with the Rams. This is just a team bitten by injuries. They get smoked by the Cardinals after losing a tough game to Detroit week 1. But it's just too many injuries. No Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp is out several weeks. The offensive line is extremely banged up. And the big concerns are the defense. You can gash the Rams now with no Aaron Donald. We were wondering what that was going to look like, and it's bad. The secondary isn't good either. This defense is a real pain. If Sean McVay can pull a rabbit out of a hat this year, I'll be insanely impressed. The Atlanta Falcons at 19 looked a lot better this week going into Philadelphia, getting the shocking win against the Eagles. I mean, that game felt over. I can't believe the Eagles threw that game away. But Kirk Cousins, bad in the first half, looked really struggling to put zip on the ball. It just felt like there was no power. Really strong second half from him. Leads the game-winning drive inside of 2 minutes, goes down, gets a touchdown. So I think there are some positive signs for the Falcons. The defense wasn't awful, wasn't great. Wasn't awful, though. Got some stops when they needed to, held the Eagles to field goals, and it got a big road win to get their season back on track. Cincy lost. I thought Cincy losing, it was a good loss. They really outplayed the Chiefs for most of that game. Burrow certainly outplayed Mahomes. The PI is the PI. Normal teams don't get that call, but you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, so that's going to get called. Yeah, I liked what the defense did. I liked the offensive distribution there. They can't really run the ball. I want to see more running. They just can't with the running backs they have. But you get Mike Gesicki out there. No T. Higgins still. Jamar Chase doing some goofy stuff. He is, but Burrow looked comfortable. Burrow looked healthy. So very positive for them. Green Bay at 17. Green Bay, nice win. Nobody expected you to win. I certainly didn't. Big win for them. Waiting for Jordan Love to get back. I think they're obviously super limited in what they can do, and I still don't think that defense is super great. They got gashed week 1 against Philadelphia, so it's kind of a holding pattern for Green Bay until they can get Jordan Love back on the field. And at 16, I got the Jets at 16. Not good, man. Still not good. This defense is a real problem. Tennessee cooked them for multiple big plays. Calvin Ridley going off against Sauce Gardner. Gave up still good big chunk plays in the run game. And the offense feels stale, vanilla, kind of whatever. This is like day one West Coast offense. Nathaniel Hackett is trash. I'm really upset if I'm a Jets fan right now because this is like Aaron Rodgers is still good and he still makes 3 or 4 throws that are just like, holy shit, that's Aaron Rodgers out there. But other than that, this team is like, yikes, guys, big yikes. But let's get into it. What you came here for, our top 15 teams. Okay, 15, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know this is like the most one-dimensional football team in the NFL. They're going to play every single game 13-10, but this defense legit might be the best defense in the league. They are suffocating. TJ Watt is a manimal. They're good at all 3 levels. You can't run the ball on them. They did give up a little bit of passing late. The offense is really the issue. Justin Fields, 1 touchdown drive for the season. They just don't score touchdowns. They're running the ball pretty well, but again, Denver's run defense is really awful. I mean, every game is going to be 13-10. I am not joking, but they love playing these games. This is the most Steelers team I think I can remember of my life. Take on the persona of Mike Tomlin, the city, the organization, the culture. This is just going to be gritty, ugly, the worst football to watch, but if you fight a pig in the mud, the pig's usually going to win. Okay, 14 here. I got the LA Chargers at 14. Look at Jim Harbaugh, man. 2-0 and got this team back on track. I think the biggest shock is, I'm not going to put too much emphasis on this because it was the Panthers, is the defense. The defense has looked pretty solid the last 2 weeks, especially after we saw what Vegas did against Baltimore. Now, Baltimore defense is a different issue. I really liked what they've done. It's just amazing what a culture change can do. Another guy who's going to pound the rock, J.K. Dobbins, healthy, resurgent, back-to-back 130-plus yard games, I think, for him. Really, really exciting stuff. Herbert's still able to make some plays out there. They're lacking the playmakers at the skill position. Quentin Johnson, though, your first-round pick from last year, the man who can't catch a football, 2 big touchdown catches this weekend. Maybe he gets some confidence. Lat McConkey a little bit slow, but this is just a Jim Harbaugh football team. They're going to play an ugly style of football. They're going to grind it out, run the ball, play defense. But Justin Herbert is a quarterback that can make plays when you need to make plays, and that's going to be dangerous. This is the opposite of what the Chargers usually are. They're in really close games, and they make bad plays to lose them. I think we're going to see a Chargers team that's going to be in close games and make good plays to win those games, because that's what usually Jim Harbaugh teams do. Chargers are feisty. Chargers definitely could be a potential playoff team, and they could be a lot better than we think right now. But we're going to keep them here at 14 to start things off, because I just don't know how good it is, because it was the Raiders and it was the Panthers to start the season. 13, I got the Seattle Seahawks up 2 spots here. Look, Seattle, good win. You know, you go on the road, cross country, noon game, that's tough. You go all the way across the country to New England against a very good defense, and you slug it out. Geno, really good game. No Kenneth Walker, couldn't run the ball really at all with Charbonnet and that defense, and he slung it, man. Quietly, sneaky good game, 300 plus yards for him. DK Metcalf with a solid day, and JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, we were hyping him up that he was going to have a big season, and I talked about how the Seahawks are really kind of want to sling the rock this year. It's weird. You have a former Ravens defensive coordinator come in. Normally defensive guys run the ball, pound it. Nah. They bring in a college offensive coordinator, and they are all about passing the ball, and it's looked good. It's ugly, it's gritty. The defense is so much better than it was last year. They gave up some points to a not great offense in New England, but those are the games you have to win if you're going to be a solid team and find yourself at 9 wins at the end of the season and sneak into that last playoff spot. I'm very optimistic if I'm a Seahawks fan. I think they're not great. Their ceiling's limited, but I think this is going to be a tough out week in and week out. Okay, number 12, maybe my the spiciest pick for me this week. The Arizona Cardinals, man, up 5 spots from last week. I love what I saw from Arizona this week. If this is the Kyler Murray we are going to get week in and week out, or at least 90% of what we saw this past weekend, the Cardinals are for real a problem. Welcome back, Marvin Harrison Jr., 4 yards week 1, 130 in the first quarter this week, 2 touchdown grabs. Look at him. He is just a problem. And when you have Kyler Murray out there throwing to you, and he can extend plays, and he's got an elite wide receiver, and he's got a really good tight end, and not to mention the commitment from this coaching staff, who I think is not getting enough credit. They are building a very good team. They have a very good coaching staff out there. They're running the football. You grind teams out. You let your goofy little quarterback run around back there, make some plays, drop dimes, because, Kyler Murray, as long as he's healthy and happy and engaged, he is a top 5 quarterback talent in this league. He's got the arm that is an unbelievable rocket hose. He can put it anywhere, not to mention the quick athleticism. I just am a real big fan of what the Cardinals are on offense. Now, the defense is a concern. Like, the Rams are totally outmanned for them, but the defense still isn't very good. The offensive line also kind of but you can make up for that when you're able to run the ball and Kyler Murray can get out of bad pass rushes. So, it's early. I'm very high on them because, they had Buffalo down early, and the Bills are looking like a real team again this year. So I love the Cardinals so far. Number 12 for them. At 11, I got the Dallas Cowboys. Look, Dallas, I can't in good conscience put a team that's been just blown out their last 2 games at home in the top 10 right now. I really can't do it. Now, I don't think it was all how this is what the Cowboys are. I think it was kind of a bad matchup for them. Offensive play caller for New Orleans was with their defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, in Minnesota forever. He knows the intricacies on that defense, and he knows how to set it up and bait it and do exactly what he wants. And not to mention, Alvin Kamara is a terrorist to Mike Zimmer. So, yeah, I'm not going to panic if I'm a Cowboys fan, but really, this team didn't do anything to get much better than it was last year. They just paid their expensive players. That's all this team did. CeeDee Lamb's good. He's a top 5 wide receiver right now. Dak's good when he needs to be, but they can't run the ball. The offensive line isn't as good as it was. I think the linebackers are an issue on the defense. This team has one way to win football games. That's get out early and just bury opponents. If they cannot come from behind, they don't have the talent at the skill positions there. They were missing Ferguson this week, but this team can't come from behind, it feels like. They have to win one way, and that's not good for long-term success for the Cowboys. Bad sign, though, if you're getting blown out at home, because then teams are going to not fear you at home, and you don't want that. Cowboys used to be the best home team in football. What's going on with Mike McCarthy, man? They got to get that thing figured out. Okay, number 10, maybe a hot take. 0-2 Baltimore Ravens. Remember, these are power rankings, not the standings. Ravens are 0-2. I do have concerns. I have some really weird concerns. I'm ready to drop the Ravens very quickly, and they kind of have a must-win game in Dallas, and so do the Cowboys. Ravens-Cowboys this weekend is an insane game. I don't know what's going on with them. Their defense is not good. The back end of the defense was bad. We knew this was the weak spot, but they're awful. They're not getting to the quarterback. The offensive line is struggling with those 3 new pieces there. The run game was awful for most of this game, but they got it on track in the second half with Derrick Henry. The play calling is stale. Everything's going like tunnel screens to Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews isn't involved at all. We're going to Likely. The run game is awkward and clunky. Lamar doesn't feel super comfortable at all throwing the ball. He's running a little bit too much. It's really weird. If they don't find a way to fix this, I think Baltimore could be in real trouble. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP winner, great in the regular season. John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl. They haven't started 0-2 in 10 years. So we're going to give them a little bit of a breather here, putting them at 10, but I'm very concerned by what I see with the Ravens. That was inexcusable, blowing a 10-point lead at home to the Vegas Raiders. All right, another inexcusable home loss. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Bad game for them on Monday night. I don't know how they lost this game. They felt like they were in control, the better team most of this game. You give up a huge pass play in the second half, and then you can't convert first downs. You can't run the clock out. You settle for a field goal to go up 6, and then you let Kirk Cousins torch you. Now, it wasn't great for them. Bijan ran for 100 yards on the 97 yards, I think, on the ground. So he almost had 100 yards. That's something that the Eagles defense shut down against Green Bay majority-wise. You weren't really able to run the ball against them, and that's kind of how they feasted. We know the secondary is not great. It's not great. You got some young pieces back there, and it's still not great. It got toasted, like I said, on a big touchdown, and it got absolutely scorched on that final drive to give up the game-winning touchdown. That's a real problem. And the offense, Nick Sirianni's a goofball. He's a clown. Why is the tush push still in the... Give the ball to Saquon Barkley. Just give it to 26. Saquon Barkley's really good at football. Their offensive line is pretty good. Jalen Hurts doesn't look comfortable. Now, no A.J. Brown. The wide receivers are very limited. Dallas Goedert, just doesn't even play football anymore, I guess. I don't know. Devonta Smith is my dog. I love him. He was awesome tonight. Still the only real option they had. I don't know, man. I'm starting to maybe jump ship on Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts, I don't think he was the reason why they lost, but he ain't playing like he played 2 years ago. Something's up. Shane Steichen really is that good of a play caller, but Jalen Hurts just feels apathetic, not engaged, doesn't care. I don't know. This is a real problem for the Eagles, but I don't know. It's only week 2. We'll see how it goes from here. All right, call me a homer, bash me all you want. We're into teams that we didn't expect to be good that are good. My Vikings at 8 here. What an awesome start to the season. 2-0, and you take down the defending NFC champs in the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers haven't won in Minnesota since 1992, so maybe it's a Minnesota curse. But this is 2 years in a row they've beaten the 49ers, and they've dominated them. This Brian Flores defense has been lights out against the Kyle Shanahan offense, and they were lights out against the Giants. Brian Flores might be my new favorite coordinator in the NFL. His defensive schemes are just creating massive havoc for people, and he's got the right personnel this year. Andrew Van Ginkel, a very underwhelming signing at the time for a lot of people. He's been a monster out there. Add in Blake Cashman from the Houston Texans, who they play this week. Heavyweight matchup, clearly. But really, the defense is suffocating. 6 sacks on Brock Purdy. You can't move the ball. They get big stops. They're starting to force turnovers. And the offense in Sam Darnold is moving the ball. No Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison or TJ Hockenson in the fourth quarter for him. Darnold converts a couple of third downs, gets the Vikings a double-digit lead that they can protect. I'm just really a big fan of what I've seen from him. They've turned the ball over a little bit too much, though. A bad pick by Darnold in the red zone, and Aaron Jones fumbles walking into the end zone to put the game away at the start of going into the fourth quarter. If you take away that fumble, man, this game is not close. Minnesota just dominated on every facet. If you can run the ball, play defense, not turn the ball over, and have your quarterback hit big plays to elite playmakers out there, this is a recipe for success. Big time matchup this week against the Texans. Okay, I'm gonna be forced to do this. I'm gonna put the Saints here at 7. Back-to-back 40-point performances. Not gonna look too much at the Panthers' performance, but they walked into Dallas and they beat the shit out of them. Plain and simple. Now, this Saints offense, everyone's freaking out about Kubiak, the new play caller, and he's got that zone running game going, and they revitalized Alvin Kamara. They've simplified things for Derek Carr. He's only got to make a couple of easy throws, and then he hits the big long pass play. It's a revolution for Derek Carr. I don't know what to say. We knew the defense was going to be solid. They've been playing good, and when they have a lead and teams have to pass the ball, it's going to be a real problem for them. I do think it was a little bit of a perfect scenario for them against the Cowboys this week. Kubiak knew everything that Mike Zimmer defense was going to do, and he made sure he knew what to do to set him up, knock him down, punch it into the end zone. And Mike Zimmer also can't stop Alvin Kamara. So I don't want to freak out by the Saints like a Super Bowl team locking it out. 2 great starts. I want to see more of this. I need to see 5 games of this from Derek Carr because we kind of know what Derek Carr is. Very similar to Sam Darnold. Need to see 5 games of this kind of level of play because it is what it is in the NFL. Once everybody has tape on you in what you're doing, Can you adjust? Can you tweak it? Can you still do it? Because Derek Carr's 30, 32, 33 years old. We know what Derek Carr is. I find it very hard to believe that Derek Carr is changing at this stage of the game. But hey, maybe Kubiak is just that good, changed everything. I thought this team was going to be first head coach fired, but definitely not right now. Strong start to the Saints season, and they don't play a very tough schedule. The Saints do not have a very tough schedule this year, so that sets up nicely for them. Maybe we won't know how good the Saints are until we get to the playoffs. And hey, man, you do that, anything can happen. Maybe the Saints are for real, for real. Can keep them at 7 right now. Okay, number 6, the Detroit Lions, dropping them 3 spots here. Not a, you win week 1 in overtime against the Rams, a lot of emotion there, but the Rams, maybe not as good as we thought the Rams were. And then you lose at home to the Buccaneers. Jared Goff threw the ball like 50 times. What is going on? They ran like 88 plays. They didn't run the ball. What's going on with the Lions offense, man? This should be a grindy, ground and pound team, and they couldn't do it. They had like 4 possessions, 6 possessions, 7 possessions in the red zone, something ridiculous, and they scored 1 touchdown. This just felt like a very non-Detroit Lions offense the last 2 weeks. Amon-Ra finally got involved, but Sam Laporta, what are we doing? Are we saving him for the playoffs? Is he 50? I mean, this is a second-year player. Get him the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, keep running them. They're good at football. Defense is a little bit better than we thought it was going to be. Absolutely. So they got to get this offense figured out, and I think it's going to be a recipe for success. Aiden Hutchinson dominated. Baker Mayfield is feeling him today. 4.5 sacks. He's leading the league in sacks, I believe. 5.5 on the season. That's a big help because they got some healthy guys back on that depth on defensive line, and that allows him to get after quarterbacks. We're not all focused on Aiden Hutchinson. Really nice. Secondary, a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Still allowed Chris Godwin to torch them a little bit, but you shut down Mike Evans for the majority of it. Tampa Bay wasn't able to run the ball. So all positive signs if you're the Lions on defense. Offense, clunky, weird, but this is kind of the stuff I wanted the Lions, like I was worried about with the Lions. Everybody cares about playing the Lions. You have a target on your back. You didn't have a target on your back last year. You'd never won the division. Nobody gave a shit about playing the Lions. They thought you were good, but they didn't really believe you're good. Everyone knows you're good now. So you're going to get people's best punches week in and week out. I'll be interested to see how Detroit adjusts moving forward. Speaking of surprises, Baker Moneymaker is gone from my least favorite player in the NFL just a few short years ago to maybe my favorite player in the NFL. He is just so gritty, so tough. He does it the right way, and he just wins football games. He puts it all on the line. But really the big story, I think, with this Tampa Bay team is the resurgence of Chris Godwin. If we're going to get this Chris Godwin week in and week out to pair with Mike Evans, you're going to be able to sprinkle in a little bit of running game with Rachaad White and Bucky Irving. This is a dangerous team. Defense is much improved from last year. On the back end. The back end was a real concern last year. The run defense was awesome last year, so we know that they were going to get that figured out. They struggled week 1 against the Commanders, but they were missing some bodies on there. They were missing Winfield this week. No problem against this explosive Lions offense, quote unquote. I'm just a huge fan of what Tampa Bay's done the last 2 seasons. Again, people forget they were in that Detroit game in the divisional round the entire way through most of the game. They had the ball, I think, with a chance to win the game, maybe to tie. I can't quite remember, but Baker threw a pick and ended the game. There was a shot there for the Buccaneers. So they were that close to being one of the final 2 teams last year, and they didn't really lose anybody. And I think they're locked in. They're focused. They lost Dave Canales. Clearly, the offense slowed down a little bit, but they got to get the run game figured out. But I'm a huge fan of the Buccaneers right now and Baker Mayfield. I can't believe I'm saying it. Okay, number 4, I got the 49ers here at 4, and this isn't just because of the loss at Minnesota. I don't think they played well. Obviously, the Christian McCaffrey injury hurts them, but now we got a Deebo Samuel injury. Deebo Samuel is going to miss multiple weeks now, and he was the best player on the field for the 49ers, on offense, I should say. Fred Warner, a monster, and he tried to win that game for the Niners all he could. Deebo was great, so now you really have Kittle and Mason. Brandon Ayuk, nowhere to be found, really. We need Ayuk out there. He got paid all this money. Go out there. You go earn your money. But you wasted your entire offseason. He's out of shape. He's not ready to roll. He's not in football playing shape. Juwan Jennings is nice. I like Juwan Jennings. But, when he's the second receiver, can he do it? I'll be really interested to see because I've been pretty high on what I've seen from Brock Purdy so far. He's throwing the ball a lot better than I thought he threw it last year. He's making tougher throws for the first 2 weeks. Offensive line, though, they got beat up by Minnesota. You can't give up 6 sacks. Those are not all on Brock Purdy or the offensive line. It was a combination of the two. But I just think maybe it's a bad matchup here. But I am concerned now with all the mounting injuries on offense. Defense, got to get some things figured out. Got gashed a little bit, pushed around. And the secondary, it's not great, man. I don't know, but San Francisco, they tend to get these things figured out. Okay, I was really torn on this one. I kind of wanted to put Buffalo at 2. I'm going to put Buffalo at 3 for now, but I've just been a huge fan of what I've seen the last 2 weeks. Like, we were kind of questioning, is this the down year for the Bills? Maybe Sean McDermott's done as a head coach. You kind of have a down year. You lose all these pieces on defense. Your best defensive player gets hurt before the season. The offense loses its 2 leading wide receivers from last year. But hey, you still got Josh Allen, and this defense has done a really good job. I think they've been a lot better than what we thought they were going to be. If they can keep playing like this, they're going to be a good unit. Von Miller, the resurgence, man, he is whooping ass out there, getting after the quarterbacks again. Kind of changed his approach. He said, I just got to get there as fast as I can. Just get there. I can't jockey with these guys like I used to when I was a young buck. I got to go after them. And he's got the highest win rate, I believe, in the NFL. At least he had going into Sunday. I didn't double check that before today. But yeah, he's kicking butt. He's going after their 33% win rate. That's a good thing. And the offense, run James Cook. Yeah, run your running back. He's awesome. Get him the ball. He's your best playmaker besides your quarterback. Josh Allen making awesome throws, makes plays. Khalil Shakir, he's solid. We didn't see any Keon Coleman this week. I want to see Dalton Kincaid involved more. I think this Bills team is going to be really scrappy. They're going to win a lot of games. I'm really a big fan of what the Bills are doing right now. I'm really high on them. I really wanted to put them at 2. I'm going to keep them at 3 for now because maybe this defense falls off. Because even that Cardinals win, the Cardinals are a lot better than we thought they were. So Bills at 3 for right now. Okay, number 2, it doesn't feel great. Houston Texans at 2 right now, but 2-0, 2 very solid wins. You had a good win week 1 against the Colts and another good win against the Chicago Bears. Look, the Bears defense is really good, and Houston fell into the trap of getting into a mud fight with a hog, but they won that mud fight with the hog. Now the Bears had a chance. Defense did their job against a rookie quarterback. This offense is really good. Joe Mixon is now injured, though, is a little concerning because the balance with this offense has been the key. Offensive line isn't great right now. CJ Stroud's taking a little too many sacks and being on the run. Got to get Tank Dell involved more in this offense. Nico Collins, he's starting to assert himself as like one of those top 10, top 5 wide receivers. I love me some Nico Collins. I just think this is a really well-coached team. The Texans defense, they're a little bend, don't break. They are good in the later halves of games. They're going to give some stuff up early. They're going to get some things figured out, make adjustments. That's what a defensive head coach does in D'Amico Ryans. I'm high on the Texans. We'll see how for real the Texans are, because if they go into Minnesota and smack Minnesota, I think this is a for real team. If they win a tight game, maybe I'm going to put Buffalo ahead of them next week for now. But yeah, I think this is just a super young team. Maybe this is their start of their ascent. Obviously, they're a little bit ahead of schedule, but 2-0 you cannot complain about. And they're 2 good wins. I don't think they're bad wins at all. On the road in the division, and then a tough primetime game against a really good defensive unit. All right, and finally, Kansas City Chiefs, number 1, 2-time defending champs, looking for number 3, 2-0, wins against the Ravens, wins against the Bengals. Patrick Mahomes maybe played his worst game of his career on Sunday, and they still found a way to win. I know the PI, we know. The real concerning thing, though, with the Chiefs, if you want to nitpick stuff, is Isaiah Pacheco is going to be out like 6-7 weeks. Hollywood Brown officially out for the regular season, so they got Carson Steele at running back. He was getting serious carries. I mean, Samaje Perine was their 3rd down back. Are we going to see a lot of Samaje Perine carries? They re-signed Kareem Hunt, I think, or are they bringing him in? So maybe Kareem Hunt back in Kansas City. He does know the offense. It was a little while ago, but that'll help. But they just find ways to win games. I want to get Xavier Worthy more involved in the run game potentially because, he's not a great wide receiver, not a great route runner out there. He's fast. He catches the ball most of the time. He's got to work on some stuff there. He's a little bit raw. There's a reason why he was available at the end of the first round. But get him involved in creative ways. I know Andy Reid is a creative guy. Get him the ball. Travis Kelce, nowhere to be found. Whereabouts unknown. Looks a little chunky. Looks a little out of shape. Got the girlfriend bod, maybe. Get a girlfriend. I don't know. Or they're just we don't need Kelce until the playoffs because that's all he's got for us these days. I don't know. But the defense is good. Defense is really good. They get stops when they need to get stops. They struggled against the Bengals a little bit, but they got their stops when they needed to get their stops, forced the Bengals, settle for a field goal, let Bucker kick the game winner. So Chiefs here at 1 for now, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? Let me have it. I'll debate you all I can. I love it. Always up for a good debate. If you haven't already, drop a quick like on this video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We got new sports content every single day. If you want to support the channel more, sign up for a channel membership. You get all sorts of access to cool content. Help support me, allows me to keep making this great content for you guys every single day. If you want to check out one of your teams live, why don't you use SeatGeek? Go to SeatGeek.com, use code afterthereview, get $20 off your first purchase. Help support me also. You know, you save some money, I make a little bit of money. You all win in this situation. But yeah, again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.